What if your vision after 50 isn't just about your eyes, but about your brain? New neuroscience shows that eye health is deeply connected to how your brain functions, and the best vitamin for eyes may not be the one you've heard the most about. You see, there's one essential nutrient, quietly supported by leading researchers, including insights from the Huberman lab, that fuels the very cells in your retina and may reverse age-related visual decline. Not with expensive treatments, not with stronger glasses, but by supporting the nervous system from within. It starts with something small. Maybe the words in your favorite book have started to blur, or you find yourself avoiding night driving because headlights now look like halos in a fog. You might even feel less steady, less confident, not just in your eyes but in your body. And that's the real surprise. According to cutting-edge neuroscience and vision research, your retina isn't just part of your eye. It's brain tissue, an extension of your central nervous system, which means that vision problems after 50 aren't only about the lens or the cornea. They're about mitochondria, neural signaling, and how your brain interprets light. This is where it gets fascinating. A single vitamin, often overlooked in conversations about eye supplements, has been shown to restore energy to your retinal cells, protect against neurodegeneration, and improve contrast, motion detection, and focus. This is more than a vitamin for vision. It's a neuroprotective tool. So in this episode, we're going deep. We'll explore the overlooked vitamin that powers your eyes and your brain, the one that may be missing from your routine, the one that could protect not only how you see, but how you think, move, and age. This isn't about miracle pills. It's about biology. It's about timing. It's about giving your brain and your vision the tools they actually need to thrive. If you're over 50 and want to support your eye health with real science, not guesswork, this may be the most important 30 minutes you spend today. Let's begin. Number 1. Why vision declines after 50, and it's not just your eyes. Let's start with a story you might recognize. Linda was 54 when she began to notice something was off. It wasn't sudden. In fact, it was so gradual she almost ignored it. She found herself holding books a little farther from her face. Driving at night became tiring, headlights looked harsher, and road signs felt just a bit fuzzier. She got her eyes checked. The optometrist gave her a new prescription. But even with updated lenses, things still didn't feel quite right. Her eyes felt more tired than usual. Her focus was off. And oddly, she felt more mentally fatigued in the afternoons. The thing is, Linda's story isn't unusual. Because around the age of 50, something quiet and biological begins to shift. And it has nothing to do with being old or needing better glasses. It starts in the retina. The retina is a paper-thin layer at the back of your eye, filled with photoreceptor cells. But here's the part most people don't realize. Your retina is actually brain tissue. It's an extension of your central nervous system, wired directly into your visual cortex. So when the retina begins to slow down or degrade, it's not just an eye issue, it's a brain-body issue. And this decline isn't simply about the shape of your eye changing with age. It's about energy, metabolism, cellular signaling. Because your retina is one of the most metabolically active tissues in your body, more so than almost any other organ, including parts of the brain. It takes enormous energy to process light, detect motion, adjust to contrast, and shift focus between near and far. When that energy system begins to falter, often due to aging mitochondria inside retinal cells, your vision becomes less crisp, your eyes feel more strained, and your brain has to work harder to process the same information. That's why so many people over 50 say things like, "My glasses help, but I still feel like something's off." Or, "I can see fine, but I get tired so quickly from screens or reading." Because what's really happening isn't just in the lens of the eye. It's in the neural pathway that connects your vision to your cognition. It's in the way your brain is forced to compensate for what your eyes can no longer process efficiently. The lesson: don't just treat your eyes like mechanical tools that need better hardware. Treat them like living extensions of your nervous system, because that's what they are. And if you want to preserve your vision, you have to start supporting the biology that powers it. So what's behind that biology? What fuels those cells in the retina to keep firing, focusing, and adjusting as you move through the world? That's what we'll explore next, because it turns out the real key to sharper vision might be hiding inside your mitochondria. Let's dive into it. Number 2, the mitochondria-vision connection and why it matters more than glasses. Imagine this: you walk into a room, turn on the lights, and nothing happens. You check the bulb, it's fine. The switch clicks. Everything looks normal, but the power's out. No electricity, no light. That's what happens inside your eyes when your mitochondria begin to slow down. You see, every one of your retinal cells depends on mitochondria, the microscopic engines inside your cells, to function. These mitochondria produce ATP, the energy currency your body uses to do everything. And in the retina, they're under constant demand. Every time light enters your eye, your photoreceptors, rods and cones, fire signals to your brain. They reset and fire again, thousands of times per second. This requires enormous energy your mitochondria must deliver. Now here's where it gets important. As we age, our mitochondria don't just get tired, they decline in number, efficiency, and resilience. They produce less ATP, generate more oxidative stress, and struggle to keep up with demand. And because your retina has one of the highest energy requirements of any tissue in the body, even small drops in mitochondrial function can have noticeable effects. Blurry contrast in low light, eye fatigue after reading, slower focus adjustment, or even light sensitivity. Let me share a real-world example. Tom was 61, active, healthy, a former engineer who loved reading at night. But over time, he found himself rereading the same paragraphs. His eyes would give out after 15-20 minutes. His doctor said his vision was technically fine. Glasses weren't the issue. So what was? When he started focusing on mitochondrial health, not just in his muscles or heart, but in his eyes, things changed. He adjusted his nutrient intake, focused on sleep quality, and began supporting his body's cellular engines in a way he never had before. And his vision, it didn't just feel sharper, it felt easier, less strain, more clarity. He said, it was like upgrading the wiring behind the scenes. That's the lesson. Good eyesight isn't just about the eye itself. It's about the power supply behind the eye. Without well-functioning mitochondria, your visual system can't keep up, no matter how strong your glasses are. So the question becomes, how do we support the mitochondria inside the retina? That brings us to something small but powerful, a vitamin most people never think about when it comes to their eyes, but that plays a central role in retinal energy production. Let's talk about it next, because the spark plug of your visual system might be something you're missing. Number 3, vitamin B2, your retinal energy spark plug. If your mitochondria are the engines of your cells, then vitamin B2, also known as riboflavin, is the spark plug that keeps those engines running. It doesn't get much attention in the world of eye health. It's not flashy. It's not trending on wellness blogs. But when it comes to your vision after 50, vitamin B2 might be one of the most important nutrients you're not thinking about. Here's why. Your retina is packed with mitochondria. These mitochondria need coenzymes, tiny helpers, to convert nutrients into usable energy. Vitamin B2 is the precursor to two of the most important coenzymes, FAD and FMN. Without them, ATP production slows down. And when ATP slows down in the retina, your vision gets sluggish. Imagine trying to use a high-powered camera with a low battery. The images are delayed, blurry, unreliable. That's what's happening inside your visual system when B2 is lacking. There's research to back this up. A study published in the journal Nutrients found that older adults with higher riboflavin intake had significantly better retinal function. Another trial showed that B2 supplementation improved contrast sensitivity, the ability to distinguish subtle shades in low light. Now let's bring this home with a real story. Carol, a retired school teacher in her early 60s, came to her doctor complaining of eye fatigue and difficulty adjusting from bright to dim lighting. She wasn't diabetic. Her eye pressure was fine. Her vision hadn't changed much on paper. But after a nutrition-focused optometrist suggested increasing riboflavin-rich foods, like eggs, almonds, spinach, and trying a low-dose riboflavin 5-phosphate supplement, things began to shift. 3 weeks later, she reported clearer focus at dusk, less squinting while reading, and a surprising lift in afternoon energy, not just in her eyes but overall. The lesson: sometimes the solution isn't stronger lenses. Sometimes it's smarter fuel. Vitamin B2 isn't a magic bullet, but it is a key that unlocks your retina's energy system. And because it's water-soluble, your body doesn't store it. You need it daily, especially as you age. So what happens when your mitochondria are underpowered and your B2 levels are low? It's not just energy that suffers, it's protection. Because energy loss is only one side of the story. The other is oxidative stress. And that's where we're headed next. Because when your retina is flooded with light, oxygen, and metabolic activity, there's a silent battle happening every second when you can't see until the damage is already done. Let's talk about it. Number 4, oxidative stress in your eyes, the battle you can't see. If you've ever left a metal tool outside in the rain and seen it rust, you already understand oxidative stress. Now imagine that same slow breakdown happening, quietly and invisibly, inside your eyes. Every second of every day, your retina is exposed to intense light, oxygen, and high-speed metabolic activity. It's constantly processing images, shifting focus, adjusting contrast, and sending signals to your brain. That workload is heroic, but it comes with a price. That price is oxidative stress. Oxidative stress is what happens when your body produces more free radicals than it can neutralize. These unstable molecules damage healthy cells, especially the highly sensitive ones in your eyes. And over time, this damage builds up, leading to slower vision, increased sensitivity to light, and long-term conditions like macular degeneration or cataracts. Now here's where vitamin B2 comes back into the story. You see, riboflavin doesn't just help mitochondria make energy. It also plays a critical role in regenerating glutathione, your body's master antioxidant. Without enough riboflavin, your glutathione system can't keep up. And without glutathione, your eyes lose their internal fire department. Let me share a quick example. Jim, a graphic designer in his late 50s, noticed he had trouble with bright light, especially after looking at screens all day. He wore blue light glasses. He tried adjusting his monitor. Still, by the evening, his eyes felt like they'd been through a storm. A functional optometrist suggested oxidative stress might be the issue. Jim began focusing on antioxidant support. More leafy greens, a B-complex supplement with riboflavin and selenium to support glutathione. After a few weeks, the harsh glare didn't feel as overwhelming. His eyes recovered more quickly. It wasn't magic. It was biology. The takeaway: you don't always see oxidative stress happening, but your eyes feel it. That gritty, overworked sensation, that sensitivity to light, that slow recovery after visual strain. Those are often signs your antioxidant defenses are falling behind. But here's the catch. Even if you're eating the right nutrients or taking a great supplement, your body might not be absorbing them well. And that's the next layer we need to uncover. Because what happens in your gut doesn't stay in your gut. It affects your eyes, your brain, and every cell in between. Up next, we'll explore the powerful but often overlooked connection between your gut, your brain, and your eyes, and why improving absorption might matter more than simply increasing intake. Let's continue. Number 5, gut-brain-eye axis. Why absorption is just as important as intake. You could be eating all the right foods, taking the perfect supplement, but if your body can't absorb it, It's like pouring water into a bottle with the cap still on. This is the hidden challenge with eye-supporting nutrients like vitamin B2. It's not just about how much you take, it's about how much actually reaches your cells. And to understand that, we need to talk about one of the most overlooked systems in modern health, the gut-brain-eye axis. Let's break it down. Your gut isn't just a digestion center, it's a high-tech communications hub. It's home to over 100 million neurons, more than your spinal cord. And it's in constant conversation with your brain through the vagus nerve, a two-way communication highway that regulates digestion, mood, inflammation, and more. When this gut-brain loop is healthy, nutrient absorption works beautifully. But when the gut lining is inflamed, the microbiome is off balance, or stress weakens vagus nerve tone, your ability to absorb key nutrients like vitamin B2 drops significantly. And that's especially important after age 50, when digestive efficiency begins to decline. Let me share a real example. Lisa, a 62-year-old retired librarian, had been taking a B-complex for months, but she still felt fatigued. Her eyes burned after long reading sessions. Her doctor said her blood levels of B2 were surprisingly low, even though she was supplementing daily. The missing piece: gut health. After working with a functional nutritionist, Lisa added gut-supportive steps to her routine. Light morning breathing exercises to stimulate her vagus nerve, a few bites of bitter greens before meals to boost digestion, and fermented foods to rebalance her microbiome. Within a month, her B2 levels improved. But more importantly, so did her clarity, her energy, and her visual comfort. The takeaway is simple but powerful. If your gut isn't healthy, your eyes will feel it. Because your retina can't use what your gut can't deliver. That's why eye health isn't just about what you eat. It's about how your whole system processes what you eat. And riboflavin, it doesn't work in isolation. In fact, it relies on a network of nutrients to do its job properly. That's where we're heading next. Because when it comes to protecting your vision and your brain, the magic often happens in the synergy between B2, antioxidants, minerals, and other B vitamins. Let's explore that next. Number 6. Beyond B2, how it interacts with other nutrients. Imagine trying to bake a cake with only flour, or build a house with just nails. Even the best ingredient can't do its job alone. Vitamin B2, riboflavin, is no different. Yes, it's essential, but its full power only comes to life when it works with other key nutrients in your body. Think of it like an orchestra. B2 might be the spark that starts the music, but it needs other instruments to complete the symphony. Let's break down a few of its closest allies. First, there's magnesium. Magnesium is critical for activating enzymes that depend on B2. Without enough magnesium, B2 can't properly transform into FAD or FMN, the molecules that energize your mitochondria. So even if you're getting enough riboflavin, low magnesium might block the benefits. Second, CoQ10 and alpha-lipoic acid. These two powerhouse nutrients also support mitochondrial function and reduce oxidative stress. Together with B2, they form a potent trio that helps your eye cells stay energized and resilient. And then there's glutathione. We mentioned this earlier, but it bears repeating. B2 is required to recycle glutathione, your body's master antioxidant. Without this partnership, your eyes can't neutralize the constant oxidative stress they face, especially under blue light, pollution, or metabolic strain. Let's bring this to life with a short story. Darren, a 58-year-old software engineer, was doing everything right. He was taking B2, eating well, staying active, but he still felt foggy by the afternoon. His vision would blur after hours at the computer. After a deep dive nutrient panel, his doctor found low magnesium and CoQ10 levels. They added those in, plus a B-complex to ensure balance, and within 2 weeks, Darren noticed sharper focus, more energy in his eyes, and less strain after work. The lesson: nutrition isn't about isolated superstars. It's about synergy. Your eye health, brain clarity, and even emotional resilience depend on nutrients working together, not competing or standing alone. That's also why it's important not to megadose one vitamin without considering its partners. Too much of one can sometimes deplete or disrupt another. And when it comes to vision, there's one more powerful connection that often goes unnoticed. Your mood, your memory, your focus. Because the retina is brain tissue, and the nutrients that power your eyes, especially B2, also deeply affect your mental clarity, emotional regulation, and risk of cognitive decline. That's what we'll explore next. Let's connect the dots between your vision and your brain, and how supporting one can transform the other. Number 7. Vision, mood, and cognitive decline, the brainy side of B2. We often think of vision as something separate from the brain, something that happens in the eyes. But in truth, we don't see with our eyes alone. We see through them with our brain. Your retina is not just light-sensitive tissue. It's part of your central nervous system, directly wired to your brain's visual cortex. So when something affects your vision, like a lack of vitamin B2, it also affects how you think, feel, and process the world. Let's go deeper. Your visual system is one of the most metabolically demanding systems in your body. It requires vast amounts of cellular energy to turn light into signals and send those signals to the brain, thousands of times per second. When B2 levels are low, ATP production in your brain drops. That means slower neural communication, more visual fatigue, and over time, reduced clarity, memory, and even emotional regulation. You might not link your mood swings or brain fog to your eyes, but the connection is real, and it's powerful. There's science to back it up. A study published in Frontiers in Aging Neuroscience found that older adults with higher B2 intake performed significantly better on visual memory tasks and had faster response times. Another review showed that B2 supports the brain's resistance to oxidative stress, one of the driving forces behind Alzheimer's and other forms of cognitive decline. Here's a simple story that brings this to life. Mary, a 67-year-old retired teacher, began noticing that her short-term memory felt unreliable. She'd walk into a room and forget why. She also mentioned feeling more emotionally flat, less joyful, more tired. She'd chalked it up to aging, until her optometrist noticed early signs of retinal stress and suggested testing her nutrient levels. Her riboflavin was low, alongside mild B6 and magnesium deficiency. With her doctor's support, Mary added a high-quality B complex that included active B2, plus made changes to her diet. Within a month, she felt more mentally there. Not just seeing more clearly, but thinking more clearly too. The small lesson. Sometimes we chase big solutions, therapy, prescriptions, brain games, but overlook the foundational biology that fuels our brain's ability to work. B2 isn't just an eye vitamin. It's a brain vitamin, a mood vitamin, a clarity vitamin. And when we give our neurons what they need, they often surprise us with how resilient they can be. But this only works if we apply it practically. So in the next section, we're going to pull it all together. The timing, the dosage, the combinations, everything you need to use vitamin B2 in real life, the right way. Let's move into the how. Number 8, real-life protocol, how to use B2 the right way. It's one thing to know about vitamin B2. It's another to actually use it well. Because like most things in health, it's not just what you take. It's how, when, and with what that makes the real difference. Let's make this practical. First, the basics. Vitamin B2 or riboflavin is a water-soluble vitamin. That means your body doesn't store it. You need to replenish it daily. It also means that timing and pairing matter for how well it's absorbed and used. So here's a simple, science-backed protocol. 1. Timing matters. Take B2 in the morning, ideally with your first full meal of the day. This aligns with your body's natural energy cycle and supports mitochondrial function when it's needed most. 2. Pair with food, especially protein and fat. Riboflavin absorbs better when taken with a meal that contains fat and protein. Think eggs with spinach, Greek yogurt with berries, or salmon with avocado toast. 3. Consider the active form, riboflavin 5-phosphate. This is the bioavailable version your body doesn't have to convert. It's especially helpful for older adults or anyone with digestion issues or methylation impairments. 4. Dosage range. For most adults over 50, 25 to 50 mg per day is effective. If you're under high oxidative stress, screen time, poor sleep, chronic inflammation, aim toward the higher end, but always consult your healthcare provider. 5. Combine with synergy. We've already talked about the power of pairing B2 with magnesium, CoQ10, and antioxidants like glutathione or selenium. A well-formulated B-complex or mitochondrial support blend can bring these together beautifully. Now, a real-world example. Tom, a 60-year-old architect, used to feel eye strain by 3 p.m. He was taking a basic multivitamin, but nothing changed. After learning about riboflavin, he switched to taking 40 mg of active B2 with his protein-rich breakfast, added magnesium glycinate in the evenings, and started limiting processed sugar. Within 2 weeks, he noticed more consistent energy, less afternoon fatigue, and surprisingly sharper focus in meetings. Not magic, just biology finally being supported properly. The lesson here: small changes done consistently are more powerful than flashy fixes, and consistency is often the missing ingredient. You don't need to overhaul your life. Just anchor this one nutrient to a habit you already have, like breakfast, and let time do the rest. That said, even with the best intentions, people often miss key steps. They take too little, or take the wrong form, or worse, combine it with things that cancel out its benefits. So next, we'll break down the most common mistakes people still make with B2, and how you can avoid them with confidence and clarity. Number 9. Mistakes people still make, and how to fix them. Even with the best information, we're all human. And when it comes to nutrition, especially something as quiet and overlooked as vitamin B2, it's easy to get it wrong without even realizing it. Let's talk about some of the most common missteps people make when trying to support their vision and brain with B2. Not to point fingers, but to offer gentle course corrections, because often, fixing a small mistake unlocks a much bigger benefit. Mistake 1. Taking the wrong form. Most generic supplements contain plain riboflavin, which your body has to convert into its active form, riboflavin 5-phosphate. But with age, stress, or genetics, that conversion can slow down. Fix it. Choose the active form. Look for supplements labeled riboflavin 5-phosphate. It might cost a little more, but your body will thank you with results you can feel. Mistake 2. Taking it on an empty stomach. B2 is water-soluble, yes, but it also works better with food, especially when paired with protein and healthy fat. Taking it solo often leads to poor absorption and wasted potential. Fix it. Anchor your B2 dose to your breakfast. Eggs, avocado, Greek yogurt, or a smoothie with nut butter. Just make it part of a real meal. Mistake 3. Not taking it consistently. Because your body doesn't store B2, skipping a few days here and there has a compounding effect. You may not notice a drop right away, but over time, that daily gap can show up as eye strain, brain fog, or emotional flatness. Fix it. Make B2 as routine as brushing your teeth. Link it to a habit, like your morning coffee or multivitamin, and set a daily reminder if needed. Mistake 4. Thinking more is always better. Some people assume that if 25 mg is good, 100 must be amazing. But excess B2 doesn't get stored, it just gets excreted, often turning your urine bright yellow. Fix it. Stick to the optimal range. 25 to 50 mg daily. Go higher only if guided by a practitioner and paired with other mitochondrial supports. Mistake 5. Ignoring supporting nutrients. B2 doesn't work in isolation. Without enough magnesium, selenium, or glutathione cofactors, it can't do its job effectively. Fix it. Think synergy. If you're using B2 to support your vision and brain, also look at your magnesium levels, antioxidant intake, and gut health. Now, a quick story to bring this to life. Julie, a 63-year-old librarian, started taking B2 after hearing about its benefits. But after 3 weeks, she said, "I'm not noticing anything." When we looked closer, we found she was taking the wrong form, with coffee on an empty stomach and skipping every weekend. She adjusted those 3 things: active form, breakfast pairing, daily habit, and within 2 weeks, she felt a dramatic shift. Less eye fatigue, clearer thinking, even better sleep. The small lesson: sometimes the answer isn't try harder, it's try smarter. And when we shift from guessing to understanding, everything starts to click. Now that you know how to avoid the most common pitfalls, it's time for something bigger. A small, science-based challenge that can help you experience the power of clarity through your eyes, your energy, and your focus. Let's bring it all home with a final reflection and a 7-day experiment that could change the way you see the world. You've made it to the end, and by now, I hope you see things just a little more clearly. Not just the role of vitamin B2, but the bigger picture. That vision isn't only about your eyes. It's about how your brain processes the world, how your mitochondria power that process, and how a quiet little nutrient, often ignored, can shape your clarity, confidence, and connection with life. You don't need perfect genes or expensive treatments to protect your vision. What you need is consistency, awareness, and the courage to start with something small but meaningful. So here's your 7-day challenge. Simple, free, and based on real science. For the next 7 days, take 25 to 50 mg of active riboflavin, riboflavin 5-phosphate each morning. Pair it with a protein-rich breakfast, eggs, yogurt, greens, salmon, your call. Spend 10-30 minutes in natural light within an hour of waking. Limit blue light exposure 90 minutes before bed, no screens, or use amber filters. Drink enough water and eat at least 1 B2-rich food daily: spinach, almonds, eggs, or mushrooms. And most importantly, pay attention. Notice how your eyes feel after reading or screen time. Notice if your focus lasts longer or your energy feels steadier. Notice if you sleep better or wake up clearer. These small shifts might surprise you, because sometimes clarity isn't something we fight for. It's something we allow when we give our biology the right signals. If this journey gave you a new insight or just reminded you that your body still has more to give, consider leaving a comment below. Let us know. What part of this protocol will you try first? Your story could inspire someone else to take that first small step. And if you found this video helpful, give it a like, share it with a friend, and subscribe for more science-backed guidance on aging well, from your vision to your brain and beyond. Remember, your vision isn't just what you see, it's how you live. And clarity, it starts now. Let's see the world better together. One day at a time, one habit at a time, starting today.